So kind of coming back to some of the ones we did on 5.1, the question that we're going to try to do is match the left side to the right side. Now, how many of you thought that the two problems that we did before lunch were really difficult? Okay? They were really difficult. Okay? So I want you to know that those were tough. So what I'd like to do is kind of back up just a hair and just make sure that you really understand what's going on. All right? All right. So left side, we're trying to match up to the right side. Any thoughts, just by show of hands, any thoughts of what we could do to start the left side by simplifying? Hannah? Yeah. Pythagorean identity on the top. And so what's secant squared minus 1? I think it's tangent squared. Good. Good, David. So we're going to say the top part is tangent squared of x, because we don't like theta. Okay? Like some people said there. Over secant squared of x. Good. Good, good. All right, let's go to the next step here. Thoughts of how we could continue to simplify. You know, Victoria?
You can switch. Well, no. Well, do you want to put it in sine and cosine?
Bingo. Good. When in doubt, if we hit a brick wall, sine and cosine is always an option. So let's try it. Victoria, what would the top be?
It'd be sine x. Oh, squared x? Yeah, over
Good.
cosine squared x.
Nice. And that's all over what?
All over 1 over cosine squared x.
Nice. Good job. Good. And then after that, we know what we do because we have a fraction over a fraction. What do we do with that?
Flippity multiply.
Flippity flip, right?
Flippity
Okay. So
flip.
we flip it to the top.
Right,
And we multiply by cosine squared over 1, which does what, David?
Cancel me, dog.
Little cancel party, and there we go. Sorry about that. And we get sine squared. And there we are. Cool, cool. Rock and roll. On the test, you will have 5 identities. You'll be able to choose 4 of those 5 identities. So just as, again, maybe one might be easier like this. This would be a little bit less work than maybe some of the other ones. And so just as you're thinking about that, that might be something to, as you prepare for it.
Wait, okay.
Cool.
We're gonna have the sheet with all the identities and stuff on it.
I'm going to give you that. I'm also going to allow this to be used on there as well. So if you want to use this on the test, that's fine as well.
Thank you.
Anytime. All right, example 2. Example 1, do we feel okay on?
Yeah.
Pretty good? Okay, if you start having some problems, let me know. Stop me. All right, verify the identity. All right, Jake, I got a question for you. Obviously, the left side is what we're doing, right? Any thoughts on how we could start number 2? Say that again, I'm sorry. I could use it if it was squared, right? It's a really good thought. One thing we note is that this is 1 and this is 1, right? Can I add those 2 together? Can I right now?
You don't have common denominator.
Yeah, good, Mason. Yeah, good, Audrey. Both of you said it. We do not have common denominators, so we got to get it there, okay? All right? Cool. So what's this missing? Yeah, good. And I heard a lot of people say it. 1 plus sign's missing, right? It's not the same as 1 minus. So what we want to do is put on the bottom 1 plus sign, okay, of, I'll just do theta. You could do A or whatever you're using. 1 plus sign of theta on the top. What's the right side missing? 1 minus. Good. 1 minus sine of theta, both top and bottom. Good. What are we freezing? Right side, right? We're freezing that right side. So everything we're doing is on the left. What's the common denominator? What's it all over? 1 plus sign and 1 minus sign. Jake said it earlier. We're going to use the identity. You're coming to it and after we multiply this, but not until it's squared. Okay, so just as a reminder. What is on the top?
1 plus sign.
And 1 plus sign and 1 minus sign. Okay? Other thoughts of what we can do to simplify? Anna, do you see anything that maybe you could think of that we could do? No? Okay, fair. That's fair.
On the bottom, can we foil or am I going the wrong direction?
We could foil, good. And can we do anything on the top? Can we simplify the top?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, we just combine, right?
Yeah, combine.
What goes?
My turn. So it'll be two. It'll just be 2, yeah.
Yeah, 2 is on the top, over, and now this is where we go 1 plus sign times 1 minus sign, right? We got to distribute this. So 1 times 1 obviously is 1, right?
All right.
That was good. All right, I got you. What times negative sign is? Negative sign. Good. What about the sign now? We distribute.
Sine.
Plus sign and
Sine squared.
negative sign squared. Good. So when we distribute, what cancels here?
The sines.
Good. And we're left with 2 over 1 minus sine squared of theta. Okay. Hey Jake, let's put that down and make me know.
Sorry, Mason, you started trash.
I got you. Let's put it down so we don't hit someone or something.
Yeah, Jake, come on now.
Okay. So what we got? What do we got?
1 minus sine squared equals cosine squared.
Great job, Hannah. Good. So we got 2 over cosine squared, which what is, that's a little weird. What does that turn into? When we take cosine squared and we put it towards the top, Hunter, do you know what that turns into when I take cosine squared and I put it to the top? Yeah, you're right. If on the bottom, right? If I take that, what's the reciprocal of cosine? 1 over.
Whatever
Secant, right? Isn't that right? Is it hard to see there?
Yeah.
My fault. My fault here. Let's do this. Let's raise it. So I've got this 2 over cosine squared. Right there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what does that? What does a cosine turn into from the bottom? If I put it to the top, it might be better. What is 1 over cosine equal to? You got it.
Secant?
Yeah, there you are. Secant. So this would be what? Secant squared. Got me? So this would be equal to 2 secant squared. Rosemary? I am. Yes, ma'am. I am.
Talk to him, Rosemary.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Talk to
you.
him.
But that's how we would get that there, okay? And Hunter and Rosemary, I know these boards are low. If it gets lower and you can't see, let me know, and I'll keep riding high.
Yeah, Coach Jake, why did they place these boards higher? Like, really? Like, you have to, like,
For the
bend
teacher.
over. No, I'm saying, like, you have to bend over to reach the bottom of the screen. Like,
You're right. It's
Yes.
to be honest, I know you're not joking.
Yeah.
It's a real issue. Like, it
Yeah.
is a real issue. But the way that you said it, because you always do make fun
No.
of me.
I know, it's kind of good that yours is a little bit shorter.
I got it. I got you. All right, questions on the second one. Questions on the second? Are we good? So it would be, the answer was 2 secant squared, right? So what we did was once we got to 2 over cosine squared, that's the same as stating 2 secant squared. Cool? All right, let's do one more together where we're kind of just talking it through like this, and then we'll go to the next one, and I'll have you do it in your groups. Cool? All right, let's go to number 3. All right, let's go. Katie or Christine, would y'all mind just either one of you or both of you? Do you have any thoughts on number 3? Of how we could start it? So this is frozen, right? We'll freeze this. Any thoughts on that left side?
You could change tangent squared plus 1 to secant squared.
Nice, good. So tangent squared plus 1, coming back to what Jake said earlier, I see something that's squared, I notice and recognize that I can simplify that with one of my Pythagorean identities, like Katie said. Okay, so we'd put that down. So we would say that this would be equal to secant squared of x. What about cosine squared minus 1? Hannah? Yeah, I would say let's be just a little careful on just saying sine squared, though you're right. You're right. It would just with the sign, right? What would the sign of this be? Negative sine squared. Now, just as kind of a side note, this is why. If you did sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1, how do I get cosine squared minus 1 as my, on both sides, on the same side? Subtract 1, you're right, which which is 0. So I get sine squared plus cosine squared minus 1 equals 0. And what do I move to the other side? Subtract sine squared. Good. And Hannah was rocking on that. Just something just to be careful of when I plug it in. Right? Cool. What do I do next? Thoughts there? David, you had your hand raised earlier. Any thoughts what I could do here?
Can we make secant cos?
Nice. 1 over what?
Cos.
Good. 1 over cosine squared.
Yes.
Sine minus sine squared of theta stays the same.
Right.
Over 1. And what does that turn into, Dave?
That turns into negative sine squared over cos squared.
Good.
Wait, Coach Jay, why is sine theta and cosine
That's my B. My B. Should be the same, right? So if I do theta or x, does that matter?
No.
Nah, I probably should keep it consistent though. Nicely done. Caught me on that. Nicely done. And then what would the final answer be there, David?
Negative and
Negative tangent
squared.
squared. Nicely done. So this would be equal to negative tangent squared of theta. Cool, cool? Questions? How do we feel on this? Bien, bien? Yeah? Good? I loved what I saw earlier from y'all, just trying to kind of hop in there and try to do it. I want to do one more with just as a group. I want to come around and just see how we're doing. I want you to do example 4, and then this will transition to our character development I want to show you. And then I'll explain the quiz, and we'll be out of here before we know it. Okay? All right, so let's do example 4 together. Do it with someone around you, and I'll come around and check it as we go. Ready? Right?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Man, you still abandoned us over there? Or
This is
work?
Straighter. One here.
That's what I thought.
So we're doing example 1.
Oh no, we don't want to anymore.
This is
Yeah,
good.
do not abandon us. You know how many ticks you got? How many ticks you got? How many ticks you got?
So what can we do?
What did you do, bro?
Change sign. There is no sign.
So that's that there, right?
No, no, here.
Sine over cosine plus cotangent, which is
So what I would say is this, okay? Cosine times 1 over
No, Big Daddy's here.
cosine, right?
Yeah.
Cosine is cosine sine, right?
Sorry, Big Daddy.
Or
Big
what
Daddy.
we can do is just leave it as 1
One
plus
stop
sine
there.
times cosine. Right? What's this one?
Damn, right.
You can give it this.
theta? Like multiply one times the other. So that's one.
Oh, this would just be. Y'all were all over it. It's just this one was tough trying to get to there. Yeah, that's perfect. Whoever's is the cleanest that I can see there, and I'm checking it out. It's all good. Just put it in there still. If there's anything that comes up,
Yeah, I think I'm doing this right.
if you like right there, what you did is perfect. When I have two things that need a don't have the same denominator like that, I would say just go.
Oh, you just doing the left side.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do
Does
it.
that make sense?
I don't even write it.
Is that what you're trying to denominator that you're trying to get to?
Okay.
Then you just choose these.
And then you just multiply that by cosine because it's the same as what
Cosine x.
And so then you then this would be sine over
Together.
cosine.
So what is this one?
If you would have written on
Oh, and you did no sine on that side. Okay.
Right side to
Okay.
side.
This one is sine
So
squared.
what I do at the bottom, I got to do to the top. So then I'm
No sine
uh,
sine.
over that plus.
This
Yeah.
equals
Okay, what's my next step after this?
This and then.
So I got the sine squared x plus cos squared x over sine, over sine x cos x.